Is this the perfect NAS mini PC? 2 drive slots, up to 5 gigs network speed, and some impressive hardware server-like features. This is the Beelink ME Pro, but does it hide a software weak spot? Let's inspect.
Hi, nice to see you, Michael here. And in 2026, I'm pretty sure this is the mini PC with the weakest processor I've personally tested, and at the same time, the only one that supports the largest HDD capacity so far, up to potential 72 terabytes, which is a crazy amount of storage. My goal in the next few minutes is to give you a clear idea who this device is actually for, why the construction is smart and well thought out, what the realistic use cases are, and I'll say it up front, since I find the pre-installed software quite limiting, how you can turn this into something truly great about storage sharing. Yes, there will be plenty of tips and tricks and personal insights, so let's get into it.
Let's begin with the unboxing. I almost never say this, but here it is really important. Not because the packaging itself is anything special, it's the usual Beelink approach with solid cardboard and decent protection, but because of what's hidden inside and how everything is arranged. The user guide comes first and does a good job of getting you up to speed with the hardware layout, and this is the ME Pro itself. First impression, feels solid and well made. On the bottom, you're gonna find 4 rubberized feet, and right in the middle, a dedicated tool hosting area. Inside, this is hex key that you're gonna need to remove the screws from the drive base. Moving on to the backside, things get even more interesting. The most dominant elements here are the large air output sections, which already hint at a serious cooling approach. You also get 2 USB ports, HDMI, a USB Type-C port, an audio jack, and 2 very fast RJ45 ports. One of them runs at 2.5 gigs and the other one at full 5 gigabits per second. This is a top-tier solution for a NAS-oriented device, and it's also worth mentioning that a wireless adapter is present as well. I told you, the unboxing matters, and here's why. You might easily miss where the power supply and the accessories are located. Each bay is held by just 2 screws, and once you open them, you can easily take out everything that you need. So no, Beelink didn't forget to include a power supply. Finding it is just part of the experience. Honestly, it's a nice little exercise that helps you better understand the internal layout from the very beginning. Speaking of the layout, let me show you how storage expansion works. The ME Pro supports 3.5-inch hard drives, and any currently available capacity is going to work without issues. Mounting the drives is quite easy, you just need to carefully tighten the screws into these rubberized pads. Their purpose is to reduce the vibration, potentially also the noise coming from the drives. I guess we can call it partial success. If you want to take things further and remove the computing module, you will need to unscrew 4 more screws, plus 2 additional ones at the bottom, hidden underneath the rubber tool compartment. Once those are out, you can lift the bottom cover and access 2 additional NVMe slots. PCI Express Generation 3 is supported here, so I wouldn't go for the latest and fastest SSDs. They will work, but their speed will be limited anyway, and for NAS-type workloads, performance is usually bottlenecked by other factors. As for the motherboard with the processor and all the supporting components, this is a great example of engineering done right. The layout is clean, well thought out, and paired with an excellent cooling implementation. The downside is that the RAM is soldered. If it ever fails, you're looking at a board replacement. That said, modern RAM is generally very reliable and often comes with lifetime warranties. Now that we've gone through the physical design, let's look at the hardware specifications themselves. You're getting Intel N95 or N150 processor, 12 GB of RAM, a swappable and modular system board, 5 Gigabit Ethernet, excellent cooling, and the ability to host a massive amount of storage. On top of that, the platform supports a wide variety of operating systems.
My usual hardware breakdown verdict? Well, this is a really smart idea from Beelink, and the execution is almost excellent. I still don't fully understand the decision to lean toward a Marshall-style visual identity, but I guess that's part of their journey to mature. Now that we've covered the hardware, it's time to talk about the software, what the system comes with by default, and what more serious NAS-oriented alternatives you can realistically run on it.
Windows 11 Home, in my opinion, is a bit of a miss here, especially for a device clearly aiming for more pro-grade use cases. You could, of course, apply a Windows 11 Pro license and unlock additional features if you want to stay within the Microsoft ecosystem. In that scenario, it behaves very much like a basic mini PC and lets you take advantage of many familiar features. Even some very light gaming is possible, and thanks to the LPDDR memory, bandwidth is slightly higher compared to DIMM-based systems, so in certain games or applications, performance might be marginally better than on other mini PCs with similar specs. But, let's be clear, this CPU is absolutely not recommended for gaming, and gaming is not the idea behind this computer in the first place. The good news is that multi-OS and dual boot setups work perfectly fine. Let me give you an example with TrueNAS running from a USB stick. Installation is so simple, and as long as you use a USB 3.0 drive, performance is going to be very good. It's probably the easiest and the cleanest way to keep the original operating system while still having access to proper NAS environment. TrueNAS is among the most capable and reliable NAS distributions available, supports almost any type and size of consumer storage device, and it recognized every drive I installed in the ME Pro without any issues. If you plan to use RAID, which is a configuration letting you restructure your storage and, for example, mirror your data, you're somewhat limited with two 3.5-inch drives, since RAID 0 and RAID 1 are the main options. Still, TrueNAS does a great job visualizing your configuration and gives you plenty of flexibility to build the setup you actually need. Also includes an app store, and you can also run containers for services that aren't available there. OpenVPN is a good example. In my storage tests, my home network is limited to 1 gigabits per second, so that was the maximum speed I could achieve through the routers. With a direct LAN connection, the system can run at 2.5 gigs and transfer speeds increase accordingly. Just keep in mind that your hard drive and overall configuration can easily become the bottleneck. RAID 1, for example, naturally results in slightly slower write speeds. If you're aiming for a setup focused more on virtual machines and containers, Proxmox is another solid option. That said, it makes more sense when coupled with a more powerful CPU than that. With the N95 here, once you start sharing resources across multiple VMs, the processor quickly becomes the main bottleneck. Still, for lightweight solutions like Home Assistant, this setup can be spot on. If you already own the ME Pro and are using it for a specific purpose, I'd really love to hear about your use case. So please share it in the comments below the video. And before wrapping up, let's talk about the drawbacks worth mentioning. There is no RAM expandability, the system ships with a non-Pro version of Windows, and I really wish there were 1 or 2 additional USB ports.
My first reaction to the ME Pro was, well, this is great hardware, but why isn't there NAS software pre-installed? Then I started thinking about how it could fit in my own setup, and I realized that the freedom to choose your operating system is actually its biggest strength. Because yes, you can have it as a regular Windows system, but you can also turn it into a NAS box, and it's gonna be really competitive, often at around just half of the price of comparable Synology systems, with only Ugreen coming close at some point in terms of price. But also, this can be a basic home file server, could be a Proxmox virtualization host, or even an ESXi machine. Even Windows Server 2025 should run just fine on the N95 processor inside. So I'm not entirely sure Beelink themselves fully realize how solid this design is and how powerful product could become over time. And a 4-bay edition at some point, this could be an absolute hit. So let me make the decision chart simple for you. If you're looking for a basic mini PC, this one is irrelevant. But if you want a compact home server with serious storage capabilities, I think this is a unicorn right now. And I genuinely think this is the beginning of a new era, or at least a new stream in the mini PC industry. Let me know if you are as excited about it as I am. And hey, please take a moment, support my work, a like, a subscribe, and sharing the video to others means the world to me. Thank you very much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.